Creation to Revelation began 20 years ago in Microsoft Paint and has now become a family business, passionate about sharing God's story and helping others feel confident to share it too. Today we talk with Brian Harber, the owner and artist behind the brand, and his wife Joie, who together bring quality, trustworthy, and vibrant visual aids into the hands of children. Welcome to inRoads, where we share real-world stories of digital evangelism and provide you with tips and resources to use today's technology to spread the gospel. You can learn more about us and watch our free video series at appianmedia.org. During this week's episode, we are going to highlight the great work that Container Solutions, Inc. does in providing high-quality, custom-engineered packaging solutions, including the camera and equipment cases that we took with us on our recent production trip to Turkey. We'll talk more about them later in the show. So, I've known you, Brian, for many years. Our paths have crossed just briefly in the few trips that I've made to Florida, and I've been pestering you for this interview for many months. So I'm thrilled to finally get a chance to talk to you, talk about your illustrative work, and to talk to you, Joie. So tell us about, first of all, just tell us about yourselves. Tell us about your family.
Well, I'm the extrovert in our family, so I guess
I'm going to go.
We met at Florida College, and we dated for 1 year, and then didn't want to wait any longer, so we got married that summer. And then 2 years into our marriage, we had our first, Evelyn. She's 8 years old. And 6 months after she was born, we got pregnant with Gray, and he is...
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he's 7. Alec is almost 6, Annabelle is 3, and Peter is 10 months old. So we have always rolled with it, and we have just loved our family, and that our kids are this close, and we've just been along for the ride, and God has been with us every step of the way, and with each challenge that we faced, he has been there for us. And really having the family the way we did, it really built our faith. It made us grow up rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We needed it.
You have all kinds of time for running a business.
Absolutely. Yeah, this really frees us up.
For sure.
As Craig mentioned, our paths have crossed many times in Florida, but for those who don't know, we're in Nashville, Tennessee now.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for the college after I graduated for just about 9 years in the marketing and graphic design area, which really gave me a ton of experience in both, and then moved back home for me to Tennessee to be near family. That's where we are now.
That's fantastic.
Very cool. Yeah.
So you're much closer now, and so with your 5 kids, right? Did I count that right? 5 kids. That's awesome.
That's what I counted.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm one of 7, so like I said, you must be sitting around with just loads of free time, just staring at yourselves, wondering what to do. In all of that free time, 20 years ago, you guys, Brian, started this thing, Creation to Revelation. So for those who don't know, can you describe this for us? What are you trying to accomplish with it?
Sure. If we want to start 20 years ago, I wasn't trying to start anything except just to help my mom out a little bit with her Bible class. So she sat me down at the family computer, because we all had the family computer growing up, right? And asked for some simple stick figures for her class. I think the quote was, "I think this is something you would enjoy doing." And it was just a matter of illustrating Joseph one chapter at a time with stick figures, just to make them slightly better than the stick figures that came with her curriculum. That grew as the curriculum continued at the church. And then after 2 years, a family friend said, "You could publish this, give him a month off of homeschool, and I bet you could do it." So Mom went for it. And in February of 2003, we took it down to Florida College. I promise we get around, but a lot has happened at Florida College for me, both before college, during, and after. And shortly after publishing, having used Microsoft Paint to draw it. Then I found out what vectors were, and I relearned and wanted to start the business again, which we didn't relaunch until 2016. It was a product that kind of sat on the shelf. People would find me despite my best efforts and ask for the product again, and we would ship it to them on CD. It's amazing how long certain formats have lasted, but now we're to the point of having digital licenses and physical products, and very, very happy with the progress God's given us.
Yeah.
So at what point did you say, okay, I'm going to make the leap into doing this full time?
It was quite a leap. It was almost like a shove into it.
It wasn't her that shoved it. Was
No. But we had been building the side business for a while, and then Brian's health was just getting worse in Florida. Apparently the swamp in Florida did not agree with his health, and so we moved to Tennessee. Air quality was much better. He was getting better, but then when he was working his corporate job, his health was not improving. He was getting worse. There were days where he had to stay home. And
I'll just interject. I ran out of sick days in the first 2 weeks of a brand new job in downtown Nashville. So.
I was also pregnant with our fifth at the time, and we had to make a very difficult decision for him to quit his job because he was just getting worse and needed to work from home. So CTR was just there waiting for us, and it was quite a scary leap, but it was a leap that we always wanted to make, but maybe we were too afraid to.
Yeah, we were saying at the time we were too scared to beforehand, but then once we reached that precipice, we were too scared not to, because it was that thing we always wanted to do, and we always trusted that God would provide that opportunity if we took the leap. But suddenly we were too scared not to, and we committed.
It's amazing how when you turn the tables like that, you go, oh my goodness, why didn't I do this sooner? What was holding me back from this?
Right. Well, feeding 4 children.
That probably
part of the
plays into that a little bit.
I'm right there with you. So for our listeners who may not even be old enough to appreciate, I'm going to keep going back to this. Old enough to appreciate Microsoft Paint and the talent. Because I don't keep bringing this up, Brian, because I think it's silly. I have such appreciation of your work, because the limitations of that program cannot be overstated. And yet you were able to produce something that brought the Bible to life, that illustrated this living, breathing story. Was that, you said you went to school for that, but when you started this, you were just a teenager, right? So this was all self-taught. Yeah.
Yeah, most of my graphic design was self-taught, because in the end, I did a major in business. I actually was going to go to Western Kentucky, then did a last-minute switch to finish up at Florida College again. So again, I just kept coming back. But mostly self-taught, and it all began with Microsoft Paint, just playing around. I just stretched that program to its absolute limit. Yes, I'm proud of what I produced as a teenager, but please don't zoom in on it. The quality will crumble instantaneously. I found out what resolution was later. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to basically be discover, or kind of be pushed into this business sideways, because it wasn't something I actively pursued. It was, again, my mother sat me down and, all to her credit, said, here's something I know you would like to do, so go for it. And it was just, of course, as most of these things are, just a little seed that just kept growing and growing. And the software I used was the exact same experience, where you just start with this little potential. Microsoft Paint doesn't have much to it, but I stretched it to its limits, published a product, and then within the year after publishing, created a grand plan that took 2004 to 2016. So it took another 12 years to actually realize, but I just kept waiting to relaunch. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Microsoft Paint it's a fun story. I try to smile about it.
You try to smile. There were probably many nights that you were not smiling about it. So,
Yes.
Joey, let me ask you this question. fast forward now to 2021. Where is creation to Revelation now? What has it grown into?
It's grown into a large resource that I use at home to teach the Bible to the kids. Visuals are just something that children latch onto so easily. And we have brainstorms all the time about the products that I need at home and that other parents need to teach it to their children at home. So it's not only products, but it's also become a following. Mothers, parents are really just hungry to teach their kids the Bible. And for me, I don't always follow a curriculum, but just having Bible pictures to show to my children is just something that they latch onto. So we're constantly trying to create things that can make it simple to talk about the Bible to your kids.
Mm-hmm. And you guys have all kinds of different products, from books and flashcards and magnets. You're just looking for some sort of tactile thing that you can help the kids study the Bible.
Yeah, starting with stick figures,
Yeah.
and then making them as elaborate as possible. Still kept us anchored in a very simple concept, which is we're not looking for realism. We're not looking to recreate an exact visual. We're trying to just, create a simple impression, a memory for a child that will carry through life for them. And that's something that has helped me. I've always grew up with certain Bible books. The Read and Grow Picture Bible was my absolute favorite. I got it for Christmas as a 2-year-old. That same book is now in my office, thanks to my mom taking care of it for me. And now I'm reading it to my kids every night. And but a simple image, whatever it may be, seared in your brain, carries forward years and years in the future. So it's not so much about getting a super accurate character representation. In fact, we want that to fade away, because since we don't know what a character would look like, it's more important to create the visual that will then again last for a long time. And our approach is more comprehensive. So I still feel like we're at the starting line on some of this, but trying to get to the point where we have basically every chapter or every visual component illustrated. It's in the title, Revelation. That's the end goal for me. We'll see how stick figures and Revelation combine when we get there.
We really just want to get, because we've moved a lot, because it used to be all digital.
Mm-hmm.
You would just print it at home or at Staples or something like that. But we realized that parents at home, especially with us, we don't have a lot of time. So when we have ready-made products, it's just that much easier to get to just down to teaching and talking about the Bible. So that has really been a shift in our focus, is just getting these products into parents' hands.
And listening to the customer was important, because when I started, I just assumed it was, the other generation I had begun this for. Well, a new generation has come along and they had a different set of priorities, and we adjusted for that. And that was fun to explore.
So let me ask you this question, kind of a follow-up. Do you see that your products are getting used more in a Bible class setting, or are they getting used by parents at home with just amongst their own kids, like you do, Joey?
I think before 2020, before 2019, it was an equal amount. Mm-hmm. But definitely within these past 2 years, a lot of parents have been reaching out and just seeing the simplicity of it and saying, that would be great just to have at home, that I can just grab and open up with my kids. So we're seeing a lot more from parents, and that's really encouraging to us to see that. And we get feedback from people. They'll send us messages, which is so encouraging, say, oh, I love this. I really wanted to do this with my kids. They just learned the timeline of the Bible. They recited it back to me, and they're excited. They're excited that their kids are learning the Bible, and that just inspires us to want to create more of these products.
Yeah, and if someone goes to your website, and I'm looking at part of it right now, the amount of material you all have created is staggering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not like you just created 12 pictures of the apostles and 17 pictures for the periods of Bible history. You've got stuff for the Lord's Supper. You've got, lesser known characters of the Bible. You've got flashcards and locations, and and it is not just some image slapped together in a paint program. You're looking at these pictures, and I can see the Bible story. I can see, that is clearly captivity in Babylon. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is clearly the apostles or women of the Bible. So I would strongly encourage our listeners, if they have not already done this, and I'm okay if they pause the podcast right now.
Yeah, right.
Hop over to creationtorevelation.com.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much here, and I really think that you all should be proud of the work that you've done.
Yeah.
So listen, after I'm sorry, guys, jump on in.
No, I just said thank you.
Well, I'll jump in. I'll jump in real quick.
Yes.
In the beginning, more teachers were seeing Brian's work from Microsoft Paint and saying, these are filling in holes of the Bible stories that we haven't seen. And so people were contacting him more. Nancy Tomlinson with Our Spiritual Heritage was a big part of Brian's illustrations in the beginning. And so, because there's even Bible stories that I have forgotten about. So another part of our mission is filling in some of the holes that we see in some curriculums.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, after the break, we're going to talk with you guys about how you're using your own content with your kiddos. And I'd love for you all to give us a glimpse about what's coming up next with Creation to Revelation. So that is right after this break. So let's talk about this week's sponsor. It's Container Solutions, Inc. CSI makes custom-engineered packaging solutions for big and small industries, manufacturing, automotive, military, even camera gear.
Yeah, right. These guys provided exceptional hard cases with inserts to allow us to safely transport our gear overseas, and they were incredible. You give them the measurements for your specific needs, and they can use foam, plastic, steel, you name it, and make packaging for your product.
CSI, they're a proud sponsor of the inRoads podcast and Appian Media, and we're thrilled to work with them. You can learn more about them at containersolutionsinc.com. Check them out. Also today, we're talking resources for children on today's podcast. Speaking of great resources for children, if you haven't already checked out our new podcast under the Appian Media umbrella, it's called Listen, My Children. Justin Dobbs hosts a great discussion on doing home Bible study with kids, and you get to observe his family as he conducts Bible studies with his children. You can find Listen, My Children on all major podcast platforms, as well as YouTube and Facebook. So, Brian, Joey, you guys have 5 kids, and Stu and I can appreciate, I think any parents listening to this podcast can appreciate the full-time job that is.
If you get above 3 kids, I look at you at a different level. You've reached like superhero level in the parenting.
It is amazing.
So you've got 3 right now, Craig. You just get one more in there, and you're...
I have 3, but then I think of my parents, and they have more than double that, and I'm just like,
it's like
you can't compare.
4, and then you get to 7. You're at a different level. And if you have 10 plus kids, you're just like, I don't even know.
You're superstar.
You're superhero.
Part of that job is obviously making God a central part of it, right? And you all have an advantage. You're creating material that you can then turn right around and use with your kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How are you using it with the kids? How are they responding to it? Share some of that with us.
Sure. In the morning, we always try to have a Bible study with the kids, like either during breakfast or right after. And really, I use the products all the time. They're always just kind of laying around. So if it's a purposeful Bible study that we're sitting down, I'll use some of the spirals. I'll even use some of it on the computer just to go through different stories. And then when they're out, sometimes I'll find the kids going through them. Sometimes they'll just have Bible questions. So just having the products out on the counter, the kitchen counter, they'll just pick them up and they'll say, "Who is this?" Or they'll recognize a person from another story, and they'll ask about it. And so it just kind of sparks conversation a lot just at home. So some of it's purposeful, like Bible study, some of it's organic. And then we also use it a lot during worship, with the coloring books, with the spirals, and
the dry erase book option
dry-
as well. So that one, you just,
yeah.
there's always a baby wipe handy. So once they fill up the book of dry erase, you just wipe it clean and start over.
Yeah. And I really love using the Lord's Supper pack, especially during that time, because I want my kids engaged in what's going on. I used to just whisper to them during the service, "Okay, this is the bread, it represents Jesus's body. This is the juice that represents his blood." But now with the Lord's Supper pack, it's telling the story of his sacrifice. And I would teach it to them at home. So when they're worshiping, when they are looking at that during the memorial, they are making connections. They're remembering the story. So I want them engaged in worship the entire time, if it's at all possible. So if I'm making connection through these images to what we're singing about, what we're talking about, that's the end goal. So having the products around all the time is just another opportunity to talk about God.
And isn't that, I think the best products are made out of necessity. It's people who said, "Man, I really wish we had this, and I'm going to go ahead and make it because we don't have it." And so I love hearing that. That means that they're really good products if you're using them. And I'm looking at, again, the website and thinking about all of the different dry erase books specifically that my son would probably really enjoy.
Start filling up the cart there.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Sure
I need to fill up the cart and
coupon
go with
codes
that.
for it or something.
So let me ask you, Brian, this question. We've talked at Appian Media about digital evangelism, and it's the idea that we create content about the Bible and share it with the world, and we're never going to meet some of the people that come in contact with this content. And so we're evangelizing to them without ever seeing them. Do you guys look at your products as being evangelism? Do you think that there are people that have had their lives touched by your products that you're just not even aware of?
Since the 2003 release, the Microsoft Paint release, people have reached out to me, and as soon as I realized, or my mom, she's the one that started this as well, she said this is actually a foreign missionary, and she suggested, let's give it to him for free. And we began that process, and anyone that we discover who's purchasing it for that purpose, we just give away the product, because there's what they're contributing to God's efforts, in our perspective, far outweighs anything we've contributed or could ever receive back, and that's exactly what we want to give to. So anything, any of lifelong missionary type approach, that's what we've seen that several times, and we get to translate for overseas, for other groups, but that's something that I think will start this calendar year, obviously beginning in Spanish and trying other languages after that. I know it's been to China, for example, where I'm pretty sure it's readable over there, but we do want to translate into native languages as well.
We've had several people ask us that. They've been begging us to start translating or asking if they could do it for us. So it's very exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's really neat.
That's fantastic. And it is. We are living in a time where we are able to share the gospel in countries that we may never set foot in, and to people that we will never meet. Yeah. We were talking in an earlier podcast about when we get to heaven, being able to set our crowns down at the feet of Christ and of God, and then looking up and seeing those that are also there because of the crown that we're laying down. You all are doing incredible work. And I know you're not doing it for your own glory. I'm not trying to pat you on the back so that you'll become proud, but I want you to realize the good that you're doing and to encourage you to keep at it, especially when it comes to kids. That is something that is very dear to us. My wife and I have an almost 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And my 7-year-old is asking about Revelation. Do you guys have material on Revelation?
I'm getting there.
Okay, you're close, man. Because like they're ready for it, and you would think he's almost 7. Like they're not ready for that, but they are. They're hungry for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
and just to let him know, so am I. I can't wait to get into
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Well, we are ready. We're lining up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keep at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a question. I just felt like I had to kind of get that out.
So I mean, let me jump on that and say, what advice would you give to someone else who's looking to create content about the Bible, maybe specifically for their kids or for a church Bible class? What kind of advice would you give to them?
I would do it over again in a heartbeat. So I would say do it. It's extremely rewarding. The work keeps you on your toes. That's for sure, because there's never a level of satisfaction you get personally for the justice you're doing to the word. It's more a matter of it, keeping you constantly laser focused and bringing you back to it and always correcting. I've yet to make a product that I haven't gone back to correct later. Thank you, all you extremely diligent customers who've noticed those things. That's the kind of criticism I want, because I want to be able to improve it all the time. And equally passionate. If you're passionate about it, that passion will feed right back, and it never goes away. So there's just a ton of reward to be found there.
Yeah. Great.
So what has this done for your own personal study? I mean, you aren't just drawing pictures. I think I remember the story of Joseph went something like this.
Mm-hmm.
How has this helped you all as the parents in your own personal study?
For me, it's shown the gaps in my knowledge. It challenges you to read more and to be ready with answers. So there's actually been some cards where I was like, oh, I don't know what's happening in that one. But the scripture is on it. And so I can just go straight to the scripture, or there's like a king I have forgotten, or a prophet. And it's challenged me, and it's made me excited to share that with my kids, that I'm learning right along with them. Any teacher will tell you that. But it has challenged me to get more into the word, because I want to be accurate and want to have a ready answer for my kids and for anyone else who's curious about it.
For me, I like finding the details, that's for sure. Again, it's not about the stick figure or the accuracy of the character. It's more the story and just finding little things that will draw attention into the story more than something that's drawn more nebulously or with less care. So if I can get every little thing that's been mentioned in the story, I've heard parents say that their kids will point out that there's a pot or a spear in the corner of the frame there, and the kid either gets to read or asks to read to find out why certain things are the way they are in the picture, just to draw more attention. And I've found reading over and over again, I like to find more and more. There's always more to discover, even in the plain historical stuff, before you even get into more theological reading.
Well, and in your images, like if you look at David in the generations, when he's a little bit older as a soldier, he's holding Goliath's sword. And then also when Brian has gone over to Israel before, he takes what he's seen from his travels there and tries to put it into his illustrations as well. And when I come up, if he's illustrating, he's usually got ESV right there with him, the Bible right there. He's constantly scrolling to be as accurate as he can.
Let me ask you this on that note. How important is it that when we teach our children about the Bible, we aren't just giving them the highlights, so to speak, the big billboard stories that we all are familiar with? I mean, I know we have a Bible book at home, and it's great, and it's got great illustrations in it, but it's so light on the details. And you guys have talked about how important the details are. How important is it that the kids, no matter how young they are learning the details of the story and not just the whitewashed version?
Yeah, I've always wanted to encourage people to explore the dimly lit corners of the Bible, not just the well-worn circle path that we all are encouraged to walk through the materials that are broadly published.
Yeah.
But there are details unsavory stories sometimes, but whether it be stick figures or just vague cartoonish drawing, I can get away with illustrating certain things. But like even the unvarnished truths of the Bible and things in the Old Testament that weren't so pretty, but it is part of God's history of His people, and show God's justice and all those different elements that belong to both the Old and New Testament. I like putting the spotlight equally on everything, because it encouraged people to say, well, either we follow sort of a mainstream narrative that is laid out for us, or we do our own searching. Like I say, we just explore the corners ourselves, and that's what study's all about. So that's sort of a meandering answer, but that's kind of the point. Is we discover for ourselves, if that makes sense.
And there's a lot of connections to be made in those details. One of our products that we made was Shadows of Christ, where we are emphasizing how different people in the Bible are foreshadowing of Jesus and how Jesus fulfilled different things. So that's definitely a details product of ours.
Yeah, and in that book, for example, having one page about King David and the next be about the steward Eliakim during the time of Hezekiah and Isaiah is a lot of fun. Is just because there's still details to be drawn out, even though we have a 40+ year history of King David, and we only have 5 to 10 verses about Eliakim. He still has a foreshadowing of Christ.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. There's just more to discover. I mean, each time you read the Bible, you're like, oh, I didn't see that there before. And so I think it creates just an interest that there's more than just the famous stories.
That's right. And you're bringing that to kids, but I'm looking at this myself. Like my understanding of the divided kingdom is so foggy.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
I just know most of the kings were bad.
Yeah, most of them were. Thanks for summarizing that.
That's what you get from it.
But it should, we should have a deeper understanding of, I liked what you said, of the dark corners of the Bible. It should all be illuminated. God didn't put it in there for no reason. He put it in there for us to benefit from it. So what do you guys have coming up? Can you share with us some of your future plans other than the revelation that you're going to start working on for me right away?
Yeah, I'll just take everything else for you. We have what we're calling history packs, which is just about 30 illustrations each as we step through books of the Bible, essentially. That is the most frequently asked question, possibly, as to when the next history, because I've only done 3, but there's going to be at least 20 of those, and they come out as I can put them out, as my focus and energy allows. With the administrating the business aside, actually getting pure illustration time is rough. But that's both a digital license, a print at home, or you can order the physical flashcard yourself. So, but we do have a lot of physical products as well. Y'all have spoken to Hannah Jinks with Mommy and Me, and we just started a Glean Together workbook series. It may be grammatically incorrect, but Mommy and Me Glean Together is just a great title, so we had to go with it. Mommy and I. So, but we'll be looking at. We did Genesis, so now we're approaching Exodus through Deuteronomy by this spring. And you've worked with Megan McDonald.
Megan McDonald. So she has created peg people, little wooden dolls. And she was doing some Bible characters on her own and donating them to sacred selections. And sometimes she'll do just family peg people. But I approached her and asked her if she'd be interested in doing that for our generations, the people of the Bible. So these little wooden dolls that match our people are just a great tool for whether in the classroom or at home, acting out the story, just getting the people of the Bible into little's hands is really fun. So I'm really excited about that.
And I give credit to Megan because I spent a long time getting 500 different generation people with a unique robe color and belt color and hair color. And she's following all of that to a T with these characters she's taken by him. So it's fantastic. But I couldn't do what she's doing, even though I did it. I couldn't do it the way she does it.
But we'll start off with disciples and
Sons of Jacob.
Sons of Jacob.
Yeah.
So that's coming up.
That's
So we'll also be adding more Go Fish decks. We already have 3 so far with Popular People, Women of the Bible, and Apostles, because we figured we couldn't start the Go Fish deck series without starting with Apostles.
Yeah.
It seems to make sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be adding Judges and Jacob's family as decks in the next few weeks, and each card has little details on it. So it's not just the card about Judah, but it has 3 tiny details that as you're playing the game, you can also read and learn about each character.
great.
And the way we played it the other night is, you get a set, and then you have to read one detail and then put the set down and then keep playing. Then later we'll add 3 sets regarding kings and kingdoms, because there's just, as you mentioned, Stuart, there's just so many kings and kingdoms to talk about. It's not even limiting it to Israel. So
I'm
And
all
we
over
have
that.
That sounds good.
ABC book. Yeah, we have a ABC book for littles, which is just people of the Bible. A for Adam, like that. So there'll be a spiral that they can flip through for that. I'll be doing more tutorials, videos, trying to teach people, help parents to know, how can I use this? Sometimes it's a big product and they're like, okay, where do I start? Some of these people are new Christians. I want to teach my kids the Bible. Where do I start? Your product is great, but where do I start? So that's where I'm going to try and come in and do more tutorials.
Let me interject there, just with the video concept, having tutorials ready to go, like on the product page before they even buy.
Mhm.
It's just, it's a sort of a quick cheat sheet to say, here's how this works before you even get it. And it's also because we realized, even though we have a certain background with having education, from an early age, an in-depth education, not everyone gets to start there. And we found a lot of people are, through no fault of their own, very intimidated when it comes time for them to start teaching. So when Joey and others who are actually camera friendly, unlike me, actually want to get on camera and start explaining these things, I think it's a great tool for them, because it takes a lot of that fear away for a new parent, and just basically, pulls the fear out from the middle and just says, okay, here's the tool and here's your child. Here's all you got to do. Just start.
Just want to empower other parents to know that you are the perfect person to do this. And it's,
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's the perfect way to kind of wrap things up today. Is you all are providing tools to equip parents to do the thing that God designed them to do. And that's the responsibility of all of us to do. Thank you all for what you're doing. We really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your very busy life to come and talk to us. And we just want to shine a light on the good work that you're doing. So they can visit creation2revelation.com.
And we'll put that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
And in the descriptions on the videos.
And it sounds like they need to be visiting that frequently, because new stuff is being added to that all the time.
We'll have a monthly drop of 2 or 3 products each month is the rough plan. So hopefully it'll be useful.
That's great.
And we thank you guys as well for all you're doing with your podcast and your videos.
Well, thank you.
Well, join us next time as we talk through our favorite sound bites of 2020. That's next time on inRoads. inRoads is a production of Appian Media. We're a non-profit video production company that is 100% crowdfunded. If you're interested in learning more about how you can support Appian Media so we can continue to create more great free content, visit us at appianmedia.org.